My father, he thinks I'm insane.
From the writers of Lost and the creators of Once Upon a Time.
You claimed you traveled to this place, Wonderland. You fell in love with the genie.
I'm gonna find him.
She's not the Alice you thought you knew.
I sense that you can take care of yourself.
Next Thursday, the search for her lost love begins.
All right, Rabbit, dig your hole.
Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. Series premiere next Thursday at 8, 7 Central. Followed by an all-new Grey's Anatomy and Scandal on ABC.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Revolution After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Revolution After Show.
Welcome everybody. I'm your host tonight, Larice People. Here it is, Revolution Season 2, Episode 2. There will be blood. And the way things look tonight, it was a lot of blood shed on the episode tonight. I mean, from Charlie to Monroe to Rachel to Aaron to Miles to Major Neville. Everybody kind of had their own intimate moment about shedding blood on the episode tonight. I'm your host tonight. Everyone else is absent tonight, but I do have a wonderful co-host tonight, Mr. Phil.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to join you on this one. I haven't had a chance to do this one, but I do like the show, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. So let's just kind of jump right into it. Let's kind of talk about Monroe and Charlie. Overall, we kind of left off last week to where Monroe got captured because Charlie was at the point in Vegas, little old-time Vegas, at the whorehouse. She wanted basically to kill Monroe. But now, as we can see, Monroe get captured. And from that capture, Charlie has made her way to this Russian camp where the one guy is speaking Russian, the other guy is asleep, and Monroe is basically like tied up to a swimming pool. So Charlie pretty much like navigates her way to knock out the older Russian guy, but as she goes out to get Monroe, she gets shot. And as she fires back, she misses. But it kind of basically plays back to her getting captured again. We thought that, possibly she would have died, but she didn't die this time. She got captured. So overall, Charlie's that tough guy who's hands down her overall objective is to kill Monroe.
Yeah.
So,
what I liked about for me, being that I am new, kind of to this panel, I want to say this. I think the way the show's going is it's really great. From season 1 to season 2, and it could have been very boring to see two capture storylines.
Yes.
But I like what the fact that they're so widely different makes it work, and and tonight was just great, and her line of like maybe you just suck at your job.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Because the whole thing was about like Monroe. Everybody thinks he's the one who set off the nuclear weapon, but at the same time, he said my job was to protect the people. And like you said, Phil, and Charlie just kind of like a side blow, tells him like maybe you suck at your job because you really didn't protect the people. What you really did, you really kind of killed a lot of people in your objective trying to protect the people. For one, with the whole massacre of everything happening in first season, because you saw a lot of killing that he did on first season. But now with this season, he's kind of like an outlaw, and and Charlie's main goal is to capture Monroe. But it's not only that Charlie wants to capture Monroe, but as we kind of figure out that the people who actually capture Monroe, they are bounty hunters. And it's kind of strange to actually see bounty hunters now into the episode, because the first season, it was like everybody's like survival of the fittest, nuclear weapons went off. We saw the American Secretary of State kind of comes in. U.S. government is back kind of playing a role in it now. But now it's like we have these bounty hunters who have captured Monroe and also captured Charlie, and they kind of make a significance. Charlie tells him, like, you have to watch your back. If not, he'll slit your throat and he will escape. And lo and behold, what ends up happening?
For me, I like that aspect of it. I mean, how many times we've seen it just in not to give a spoiler out, but Riddick, like
Yeah.
the recent movie with Vin Diesel and things like that. But the way in which it plays out is always fun to see.
Yes,
You
it
know,
is.
and they had that foreshadowing of him kind of taking that piece off, and as he's kind of let off, he's got it in his hands, and that wonderful shot, like, oh, it's gone,
Yeah.
and the way he breaks through that carriage, it was great.
It was kind of like how does a pool first of all even have chips like that for him to either break off a piece of the chip of a concrete to get to escape inside the carriage. But once he get out the carriage, it's kind of like you think he would have basically made a quiet attempt to get out. He kind of jumps out and kind of falls and be like, and so they kind of stop. So he runs into the woods. But the fight scene that he have is like, again, he's a fighter, he's a warrior, and what they don't understand is that he would do anything, everything to survive. The older gentleman, he snaps his neck. The younger bounty hunter, he tries to fight Monroe, but he loses. It's like everybody loses in the battle against like Monroe, and because he's such an excellent fighter, and all he just try to survive. And then here's Charlie. Charlie comes up. For some reason, she's like the fastest person. Like she catches up with everybody so fast for whatever the reason. But Charlie comes up, and then Charlie basically goes to help the bounty hunter because she know how Monroe is, and she wants to kill him. So, but in the fight scene with her and Monroe, he tells her, stop, Charlie. Like, he don't wants to hurt her, but he's like, stop, Charlie. But Charlie takes the pipe. She's steady, constantly swinging. He kind of gives her like a cheek blow into the ribs. And to me, I was like, oh, man, that had to really hurt. But at the same time, he had to do what he had to do because, like, she was swinging at him relentlessly to make sure that, hey, I'm here. I want to kill you because I have that vendetta against you because you had my father killed, you had my brother killed, you had my mom captured. You did all these things to myself. Not only myself, you did everything to the world itself. So he hits her. Again, she falls to the ground, but she gets right back up. She's a nonstop, like, relentlessly, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. But then he rides off into the sunset. I would say into the woods more so than anything, which is kind of coincidental because, again, like she said, he will escape. He will find a way to escape, and exactly that's what he did.
Yeah, what did you think about, just going back a little bit earlier, Charlie's interaction with the bounty hunters? I thought that was some great moments. He's trying to help her out and things like that. And I don't know, to me it was a little bit surprising that he did let her go. I mean, obviously there was a fondness from him to her.
Yeah.
But the way he says, you're stupid, you're as dumb as you look, and trust me, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah, it's almost like insultive the way she kind of like carrying herself towards the bounty hunter. But at the same time, I have to look at like, well, she's really not a threat to him because he have one purpose and one purpose only. I don't need to basically like kill anybody else. I'm here for Monroe to take him back to the U.S. government. You're just somebody who's just in the way, so we're gonna leave you here and let you just find your way as we continue to travel on and do my job and my duty to take him back to the U.S. government. So I just think kind of way he did the right thing, but it's kind of glad he did let her go because if he didn't, Monroe would have also killed him in the woods also.
It's true, but I mean, you always kind of speculate of, okay, if they were both in the carriage together, then she could have said something, or you wonder if she would have, so, but obviously not the way it happened, so at that point it's just speculation.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't expect from Monroe and Charlie to actually to work together to escape, for the most part, because she wants to kill. I think if she was in the carriage and she had an opportunity to kill Monroe, I think she would try to kill him more so than try to help him escape.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my personal opinion. But the miraculous thing about this episode is Aaron.
Well, before we get to that, I want to tell you guys, with now that it's the fall lineup here at AfterBuzz TV, we're covering so many shows, and a great show that I don't want you guys to miss out on as fans is it's called Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Yes.
It's a spin-off show of obviously Once Upon a Time. It's on ABC, and it premieres next Thursday, October 10th. Don't be late. They're calling it the biggest adventure of the season. Once Upon a Time obviously has its fairy tales. This one is more of the Alice in Wonderland type of thing. So jump down the rabbit hole into the epic romance as Once Upon a Time in Wonderland premieres. She is not the Alice you thought you knew. She's grown up. She's stronger. She's smarter. She's a fighter, and she's in love with the genie from Aladdin.
Oh, wow.
Interesting twist right there.
Yes.
Her father thinks she's crazy, and the doctors agree. I might tend to agree. She embarks on the most dangerous journey and mysterious journey yet back to Wonderland to rescue her one true love, who's being held captive by the Red Queen and Jafar, the evil wizard from the Aladdin tale. I mean, this is from the minds of the creators of Lost and Once Upon a Time, so you know it's going to be good. It's a whole new world loaded with stunning visual effects, and TV Guide calls it provocative. It stars many, many people who are great. Naveen Andrews, Sophie Lowe, Peter, Emma Rigby. I mean, the list goes on and on. John Lithgow as the White Rabbit. Alice's search for her lost love begins, and it's this year's Don't Miss television event. Once Upon a Time in Wonderland premieres next Thursday, October 10th. Don't be late, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Make sure y'all tune into that.
And we're definitely doing an after show for it, so don't miss that either. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Definitely. So let's talk about Aaron. For 2.5 hours being dead, he's revived.
Yes, I mean it reminds me of the old movie Flatliners. For those of you, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's Kevin Bacon's early work along with Keith Sutherland. But he's back, and I like the comedic part of their explanation of it. You know, tying it back to the nanotechs of like, oh, that really is miraculous.
Yeah, because you actually kind of look at that. You know, the nanotechs. They're designed to really kind of help and basically like recreate the body in a sense, because when Rachel had her injury, she placed it in her leg. She grew like her leg healed miraculously. She was basically fine. 2.5 hours, Aaron's dead. His wife freaks out, which anybody, I would freak out too. I mean, if you're died, flatline on a table, 2.5 hours, I expect never, ever to see you again. But this time he comes back full knowledgeable of what happened. And, you know, Rachel's talking to him, trying to figure out, like, what happened. And, you know, he's just kind of sitting in the daze, like, why am I here? Why am I still alive? And I think he kind of is at the point now that he's here to help save the world, to get the power back on. I really think he's kind of focusing on that because his whole demeanor, it changes. He really don't know what he wants to do now. And it's kind of funny because when they gather all the townspeople together because they feel like the bandits might attack the town people, I know many of y'all might actually know the story of the Ghostbuster. He started telling the kids about, like, once upon a time in New York, you know, it's a story about the Ghostbuster. And a lot of kids probably really don't know who Ghostbusters is, but I know who Ghostbuster is. I mean, Phil, I'm pretty sure you've seen the movie a million times.
I've seen the movie, and, you know, I think there is the legend of Ghostbusters regardless of, you know, I mean, there's so many cartoons and spin-offs and things like that. So, yes, there's the movies, but there's also, in some form of another, you know, the story of it, and it's also funny that the fact that they're telling these stories, and, you know, they made mention of Walker, Texas Ranger, too.
Yeah.
But
oh, yeah. It's kind of weird. They have a lot of movies that they kind of basically refer back to throughout the whole episode. But again, with Aaron just kind of and he kind of starts to talk about, you know, his life as a whole. The biggest thing is that when he was in, I think, like a school building, open hallway, he hears a gunshot. And from the gunshot, he's kind of figuring, like, what happened with this gunshot. So he goes out into the hall. He sees Ben. And for y'all who don't know who Ben is, Ben was basically one of the creators of, he was Rachel's husband. In the beginning, he was killed by the Monroe militia, but he originally created part of the programming for the light, the power's going out. So Aaron sees Ben on the floor, but when he turned Ben's over, he sees a puddle of blood. And he's thinking, like, I can't believe this, you. And he feel like Ben is talking to him, but in actuality, he's really hallucinating and he's seeing Ben in his vision. Never met Ben before, but he sees Ben in a puddle of blood. And so his wife comes to him like, Aaron, what's going on? And he's like, I just saw Ben in a puddle of blood. And it's like, to me personally, if I walked up to you, Phil, and you say, hey, I just saw a dead person, okay, I'm freaking out. First of all, I'm just like, are you okay? Are you dehydrated? Are you hallucinating? What's really going on? I'm trying to figure out the problem. But Aaron's really convinced that he saw Ben. And from that, he basically breaks down and tells his wife what happened. And with that basically being said, what ends up happening, he's basically telling, like, hey, we was at the tower. What happened in the tower, the nuclear weapons was set off. It was my job to I tried to stop the nuclear weapons from going off. But as Miles did the countdown, we got to like 3, then 2, the computer crashed. And he asked Rachel, like, hey, Rachel, what's wrong with the computer being crashing? And from there, Rachel doesn't know. And then Major Neville kind of comes in and breaks into the tower. So now where last season it left off to where the nuclear weapon's going off and Major Neville's on the opposite side, but Major Neville breaks inside the lock room where Rachel, Miles, Aaron, and Charlie is in the room. And from that, Major Neville kind of see what happened to nuclear weapons going off. But coincidentally, what happened, the computer crashed because with most computers that crash and some tech-savvy people or more like hackers, the computers exploded. And with the computers being exploded, that's how they got out of the tower. So he tells his wife that story. And for I would think she's kind of surprised because he knows why the power's not coming on. And she finally realizes that when he says the power's not coming back on, I think she's going to believe him now.
Yeah.
Because now it's that the computer crash, the system that was developed to keep the power on, to switch the power on and off, the computer has now crashed. And so now we at a point that there's not going to be any power coming back on. And I think she's going to freak out next episode because it kind of flashed and just kind of disappeared on her. But I think she's going to freak out next episode because she's going to blame him for all this. And I think they're going to have a breakup overall. But then he goes into Rachel and her dad. Rachel wants to go save Miles. Well, Stu. His new name is Stu. So Rachel wants to go save Stu, and she's talked to her dad like, we should basically go out there and try to help him. We don't know what happened to him. If it was me, he would go out there and try to save me. But the dad pretty much talks to her like, no, we don't have enough people. We need to stay here and save everyone that's here. Miles pretty much is on his own. They have that conversation back and forth throughout the whole entire time. Rachel, her attitude towards this episode was to more or less to save Stu. She didn't care about anything else, about anybody else. And she asks everybody to really like, hey, help me save Stu because if it was you guys, he would try to save you. And she goes to everybody, but everybody denies her.
Yeah.
But the relationship her and her dad have, that her dad knows that, hey, once she have her mind made up, even if it's a bad, he quote unquote said, even if it's a bad idea, I know you still gonna go through with the idea. So I'm here to help you and support you. So when she kind of get a few guys and her dad finds some of the best fighters in the town and with their guns like, hey, we'll go out with you to help to fight the bandits to save Miles, you know, and they kind of go on this journey. And as most fathers would do, it's like, hey, I'm going with you. And that little debate, what do you think about that?
You know, I like the debate. I mean, you know, in terms of the dad, you know, I like how he made mention, you know, where do you think you get your stubbornness or whatever he said.
Yeah.
And obviously it's from him because he's the same way. And so, and that's why she didn't really fight back either because, you know, if she's stubborn, she knows that he's going to be stubborn to want to come with.
Yeah.
And so I like that. And I like where this is headed, you know, and they had that great moment of like, hey, forget these things about Miles. You know, do you really want to save him? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
So that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, but you also he asked her like, do you want to save Miles? Is it because he have saved you, or you just want to save him because of the person that he is? And I think her dad kind of knows that her and Miles kind of have a little fling for each other because, hands down, if it was somebody just random, would I try to go save them? I probably wouldn't. I'm gonna stay safe. Sorry, it's a great fighter, you're on your own. But if it's like a love connection or I have a strong past with you, I would basically try to do everything in my possible power to try to go out and save you. If we're going to die, I'd rather die for us to die together than for us to die alone. Yeah. That's just how I feel personally. But on their way to the bandit, as they ride on the wagon, Rachel starts to see the fireflies. Because before, when Aaron told her, hey, I'm seeing the fireflies, she didn't believe it. So now she starts to see the fireflies as they on their journey. And so she's like, okay, hold it, let's stop. Something weird is happening right now. And so what she ended up doing is like, hey, let me get a torch. And when they lit the torch, all she can see were dead rats. What do you think about that? Freaky?
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. There's a weird symbiosis. I mean, you know, Aaron seeing the dead rat there and saying, hey, you weren't as lucky as me.
Yes.
You know, I think that's a very telling quote. I don't know what it fully means right now, but, you know, obviously, you know, you don't have rats in one scene and rats in another.
Yes.
And have them both be dead and not have a connection.
Yes. But the thing about the rats with Rachel and them, it was a plethora, like, it's like somebody just dropped a dump truck full of rats on both sides, and they was riding on rats. Like the whole time they was going through the forest, they was basically like riding over and stepping on rats. And she's probably really thinking that something's major is really gonna happen.
Yeah.
Major gonna happen because all the rats are dying. So it kind of basically thinking like, are the animals gonna die also, or just the rats because they're rodents because they ate something bad, or they ate a firefly for whatever the reason? We don't know. We have to basically wait and see what next we have. If y'all have any idea of what's going to happen with the rats and why the rats are dying, please go to iTunes, rate us, comment us. You have any questions that you may have about Revolution that you would like for us to ask on Revolution on the AfterBuzz recap, please send us your questions, your concerns. If you have any idea or opinion why the power's out, please, if the powers will ever get back on, please go to iTunes, rate us, comment on us, give us 5 stars on iTunes. You can get us on all digital downloads from iPads, iPhone, Galaxy tablets, and make sure you go to iTunes and download us. Let's get to Miles and Titus.
We found out about Titus today.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that you used to be a headmaster and artistic photos as he calls it. And I like Miles' reaction. Yikes.
Yes, it was kind of like his whole idea, like why I'm a sheriff, was kind of like, hey, everybody know that TV show Texas Walker Ranger. I loved that show as a kid, but at the same time, it didn't inspire me to kind of be a sheriff. Yes, and like Titus really had a small role in this, right? Like seriously, like super small. He was in there probably every bit of like less than 60 seconds. He got killed. It was kind of weird though because when they took the blood. It's like, why are they taking the blood? Obviously, Titus had the wrong blood type, so they killed him, so they no longer needed him in that. But Miles, being the guy that he is, always escaping and doing the extra, believing that no one's going to kill him, Miles tries to escape. And in his escape, is always he has a soft heart. And that soft heart causes him to get caught again because, there's a woman there with him captured, and what they did is that he escaped, and she's like, are you going to leave me here? And, he felt guilty about leaving her there, so he tries to go to help her escape. In the meantime, him helping her escape, a couple of guys try to attack him. Him and his gracious fighting skills killed a couple guys, but again, at the end of the day, he had to stop fighting because the guy, he's going to kill the other woman. Again, she has no sentimental value to you. I personally probably would have left her because I already know what was going to happen behind the red door is that I'm going to get killed. So they take him in to meet the head guy over the bandits. And this guy is a creepy guy. What do you...
Well, he it's so true. I mean, he just demeaning that woman, he right off the bat, he calls her a slut. Like, had you not gone after that slut, you might have gotten away.
Exactly.
And it's so true, but I think it's true to character of who Miles is, and I don't think he'll, despite that, he'll never change, and you can call him whatever you want, whatever pejorative, but that's just, he's always going to try to save those who need saving. And I thought it was noble that he was said like, hey, because I think he if he was here, he knew, okay, just kill me.
Yeah.
But they weren't going to give that to him.
Yeah. And the reason, and as we found out later, the reason why is because when they took the blood, his blood actually tests positive. We don't know why his blood tests positive, so that's why they killed Titus and didn't kill Miles. But his interacting with the head guy over the bandit is kind of weird and creepy. And Miles just feel like, whatever you want to do, just kill me. I really don't care. Just kind of get it over with. But, it's kind of symbolic the way the guys kind of like talk to him. It's like real creepy and weird. But at the end of it, the meeting that he had with the bandit, they smashed Miles' hand.
Yeah.
And I think that the significance of that, because they know he's such a wonderful fighter and warrior, they don't want him to try to escape or do anything else. And as they smash his hand, as the time comes, they take him to the Red Room. And we figure out the reason why they have the Red Room. The Red Room is more of a blood transfusion room. And I'm thinking it's probably more... Who do you think it is? You think it's his wife, or it can't be his daughter because the lady, she looks pretty older. Maybe because she's drinking blood. But
I don't think it's his daughter.
But I'm thinking it's probably his wife, and they're really trying to save his wife because everyone that goes into the room, they're doing blood transfusion. And Miles kind of looks like, this is weird and creepy. Why are you doing blood trans? And he probably knows what it is, and what's about to happen is that you about to drain me of my blood, kill me, just to try to keep this woman alive. And I think like next episode we probably really understand who she is as a person. But
Well, I think they're gonna keep if anything they would keep Miles alive because obviously they would need the blood. I mean
Yes.
he would just be very drained of blood. I forget what it is. How many times you can donate blood or whatever. But they would like keep him at like let's say 80% the whole time and just like where basically you're really useless
Yeah.
as a human being.
And I think a lot of the reason the bandits go out to find people is because they're trying to find as much blood as possible. Because as soon as you drain somebody, you need another body to basically to replenish the blood or to do another blood transfusion for his wife or the lady, whoever she may be. But at the same, it's just kind of weird that this goes on. But remember what happened? Well, no, it didn't happen on this episode. I'm thinking of another show. But we'll see what happened with Miles. For the biggest thing.
What do you think of that philosophy, though? I mean, in terms of the creeper guy, apart from having kid porn and God knows what else. I really, he didn't have kind of a interesting philosophy in the sense of like, what, the old rules are now different.
Yes.
And I don't know if that just means now he can basically rape little kids, but just that idea, the core idea of it was interesting, not the kids part.
Yeah, I mean, I think when he says like the old rules are different, I think it's more or less like it's my rules. I live by my rules and no rules of anyone else because there's no government, there's no power. I supply my own self with everything that I need. If I have
the idea of God, it's obviously it's been brought up a few times, even this episode alone, but the idea of like God wanted it this way.
It's kind of, I don't think God would ever want people to live like this, to really kind of it's more just like they're takers.
Yeah.
Overall, they kind of take from everyone else. And as you see, and I think the more and more as it kind of goes on, they can continue to take more and more and more. And I think they're really just taking just for the survival of this woman.
Yeah.
Because they don't take a lot from people. They take a couple people, then they'll go away. Because you look at the first episode when it was at the house, taking the woman from the house when Mal first had an encounter with the band. They just took a couple people and they vanished. And I think he kind of sends them out daily or maybe every couple of weeks or to basically see how many people they can kind of scavenge up just so they can kind of get the blood supply just for this lady. And hopefully, I wonder if Miles going to kill her.
I don't know.
That'd be very interesting. Like Miles kill her and it's just a big fight between Miles and I don't think Miles going to die on this episode at all. So this season. So overall, let's talk about Major Neville.
This, for me, I like this storyline. It was great, mainly because of the slow mo.
Yeah,
that was fun to see.
Again,
for many reasons.
Major Neville is back up to his old tactics again. To prey on those who don't know him because he has a stronger mind and his mentality is that now his mentality is I just want to kill the people that killed my wife.
Mm-hmm. And
he feels that the U.S. government is the reason why his wife died because Randall set off the nuclear weapons, and all of a sudden the U.S. government reappears, which they thought they didn't have any governing body in the whole U.S. because of the power went out. And as we see, they came back, and now we have the secretary who's pretty much like running this town. She just comes into town with the military, and they just run this whole like little town of people because they feel like, hey, we're government, and you have to basically listen to us and do as we say because we overpower everyone else. But Major Neville, again, he's planning.
He wants to go up the flagpole. You would think like, okay, this would be a step, in killing her, but. The twist of, okay, you know what, I'm going to kill my own guys and get in her good graces so that I can gain more access. I love that aspect of it.
Oh, yeah, but you know what? He's been doing the same thing throughout season 1, and I think he's going to do a lot with season 2 because overall he wants to kill the people that killed his wife. That's his only objective that he has in his mind right now, and I think he's going to kill as many people as possible that until he actually killed the U.S. government. And his main focus right now, he wants to kill the secretary because he feels like she's responsible for it. But when you look at it, she's not technically responsible for it. You have to look at the president.
You think he wants to go after her, or you think by gaining access to her, he can gain more access to other things?
I think that both. I think he's going to use her in order to gain access to more things to get closer to the government. But overall, I think he just wanted to kill who initiated, who authorized the launching of the nukes. And whoever authorized, it's more of the president who authorized the launching of the nuclear weapon, but she's the closest thing to the president, and he's just going to kind of work his way up. And I like how they kind of set the scene up, because the one guy, you know, with Jason, like, oh yeah, this guy is cool, like he kind of fight for the rebels back then, and he kind of basically tells the guy his plan. And he don't trust the guys first, but he tells the guy his plan, like, yeah, you know, I think they are the one who kind of set off the nuclear weapons. I just want to get closer to them. And then he kind of divides the plans and sets it up.
Yeah.
And from that plan, he sets up Jason's part of the plan. And the new guy, I never got his name.
Yeah,
I don't think
I remember.
he's ever said his name. But then Jason kind of sets up, like, okay, well, let's set a diversion where they have to kind of walk around the tents and do all this. But the new guy sets up, and basically he's in front of the Secretary of State and basically goes up to walk up to them as Major Neville's walking behind them. You think it's almost like an ambush that I thought was like, man, it's really about to be a gunfight between the Secretary of State and all the military, between Major Neville and the new guy, and really that's going to be the end of it. But with his conniving ideas and ways, what ends up happening is that they walk up to the Secretary of State. As the new guy is in the front of the Secretary of State walking towards him, he pulls out a gun. Major Neville pulls out his gun, was like, duck, and then kills the new guy. Technically part of his plan. Yeah. And, you know, he kind of surrendered real easily. And really, I think he just want her to realize, like, hey, I'm here. I'm on your side. And then in the end, she calls him in and was like, hey, you know, thank you for what you did. And he's like, hey, you know, I'm just kind of doing a good service. You know, I just want to look out for you. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. As a planting a seed more that, hey, I'm trying to work my way up the chain. I'm trying to figure out who set the nuclear weapons off, who killed my wife, and overall, I want to kill those people who.
Well, he paints it really well for her using, I mean, you know, who doesn't know the JFK?
Yes.
You know, that as a reference, you know, so that kind of really easily explains it to her, and she's like, okay, I get it. And then, you know, he points out the flaws of like, hey, your guys couldn't see this.
Yes.
But I saw it. Well, you saw it because you set it up.
Exactly.
But regardless, you know, so now it's like, oh, you know what? I do need a good guy like this with my team.
Yeah, who's pretty much is like, who's not with the government, but he's able to have his ear and listen to everything that's going on. But needless to say, he's the reason why everything is kind of happening. So overall, like, I think this episode was real great. We had a lot happen throughout the whole entire episode. It was a lot of bloodshed. I can say every scene between Monroe and Charlie was bloodshed. Aaron, bloodshed. Rachel and her dad, not really bloodshed. Only bloodshed that was shedded was the rats, because a lot of dead rats. Miles, definitely a lot of bloodshed. Neville, bloodshed. So really, it kind of stick to the storyline. There will be bloodshed over the whole entire episode, and it was a great episode.
I thought so too. I 100% agree, and I, you know, just being this as episode 2 of the whole season, I think we're in a good place.
Yes. You can go into predictions, or
let's do it.
Do it.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
What do you got?
Oh, I mean, I think predicting-wise, Monroe still is going to be on the loose, and Charlie's going to find him some way, somehow. Probably not in the next episode, but about episode 4, Charlie's going to find him. Aaron, I think it's going to be a tough situation between him and his wife, him and his new girlfriend, because now she know the reason why the lights went out, and I don't think she's going to trust him. So it's going to be a real big trust issue with that. Rachel and her dad, I think it's going to be a real big fight. As we can see on the next episode, the bandits actually go to the town, and they're fighting in the town. So I think there's going to be a lot of bloodshed in that episode also. And Rachel gets shot.
You think, really?
She gets shot with the bow and arrow. With the bow and arrow, she gets
yeah,
shot
yeah.
with the bow and arrow. So it's right above the heart. I don't think she's going to die, because I don't think she can die. But even with that, I think that because they've been so close to the nanites, that she just going, it's like she's going to just regenerate, regrow herself and rejuvenate herself, and just like, oh, I'm okay.
Yeah.
She can do like what Aaron did. Major Neville, again, I think he's just going to continue to connive and snake and to work his way up until he's found out what's going to happen. I think he's going to kill more people in the next episode.
I think for me, it would be poetic in some way if Rachel got shot just within eyesight of Miles. You know, so then he would see it that she came out to him and things like that. You know, but we'll see if that happens or not.
It's gonna be real interesting. Definitely this season is gonna be a great season. Episode 2, and it's already strong.
It is indeed. Well, thank you for letting me be a part of this.
All right, thank you for joining us. It was definitely a great episode that, we both enjoy. So.
I did. Where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me at True Peoples, at Larice Peoples. Also, check out TruePeoplesMedia.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
All right, and follow us here at AfterBuzz TV, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff, all that social media. And again, we've got a lot of fall shows coming up, so definitely tune in. Larice has been a part of a lot of them, so I'm sure you'll see him on other shows as well. But definitely tune in next week, right?
Yes, sir.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.